Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you an interesting game between candidate master Kizza Faruk Fauza, the African Bulls Young Z, with Ssonko Mathias Allan. This game was too interesting that it triggered GM Anish Giri to give Ssonko Mathias a handshake for the game well played at the Tromsø Chess Olympiad, Norway. And also the Lars Schandorff, a chess grandmaster from Denmark, who is renowned for his opening preparation, also wrote about this game in his book, Playing the Caro-Kann, the Counter Attacking Repertoire, on page 644 from move 11 in this game. The link of the book is in the comment section. Kizza Faruk Fauza Karim is a Ugandan chess player who attained the candidate master title in the 2022 Africa Championships in Kenya, where he faced tough battles against Africa's finest chess players and he managed to triumph, and currently is also the ambassador of the new best mansion in Uganda. And also Ssonko Mathias Allan is a Ugandan chess player, a multiple tournament winner of the Mombasa Open, Rwanda Genocide, and he has also represented Uganda in the Olympics multiple times. Ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into this game. Candidate master Kizza Faruk Fauza is in the white pieces, and in the black pieces we have Ssonko Mathias Allan. The game started with 1 e4, and then c6, d4, then d5, and after f3, this one brings us to the Caro-Kann defense, the fantasy variation. So the essence is that white is planning that if black takes the pawn on e4, then he can still capture back with the pawn, and then he can play knight f3, which gives him a majority in the center. D takes e4, f takes e4. This means that he has the majority in the center. However, black has a surprise move, which is pawn e5, knight f3. If black plays knight f6, then white would continue with bishop c4, and after bishop g4, then this calls for a sacrifice with bishop takes f7, after king takes f7, knight takes e5, forking the king and bishop. This gives white a huge advantage. Let's go back. So after knight f3, Mathias came up with another strategy. He played bishop g4 immediately, and then white went ahead to play bishop c4. So here you can't go ahead and play knight f6 because it calls for the same tactic. Bishop takes, and after king takes, then knight comes in to check the pawn and then win, which is on g4. So that's why in this position it's very recommendable you go with what Mathias played. Mathias played knight d7. So after short castling, he played knight gf6. So after c3, strengthening the pawn in the center, then he played bishop d6. Queen b3 is what was played, but let's go back. In this position, bishop g5 would have been considered because it is also trying to give room to the knight to come in. The queen can always come to b3 in the future, or even queen c2, connecting the rooks as the game can go on accordingly. But after bishop d6, Faruk came up with a strategy. He played queen b3. On the surface, queen b3 looks okay, but now it gives black a huge advantage. For example, now white is attacking the pawn which is on f7, at the same time is attacking the pawn which is on b7. In this position, Ssonko Mathias came up with a novelty. He played short castling, sacrificing the pawn which is on b7, gambiting the pawn which is on b7. And in this position, the best move to be played is basically going to play knight b d2, and in case of b5, then bishop d3, and the game can go on accordingly. But however, Faruk went ahead to take the poisoned pawn, and he played queen takes b7. This gave black a huge advantage. Bishop takes f3. In this position, the grandmaster from Denmark called Lars Schandorff, in his book Playing the Caro-Kann, a counter-attacking repertoire, wrote about this position, and he said that previously in this position, majority of the players were going ahead to play pawn takes f3, so that the pawn can go ahead to support the pawn which is on d4. He said, after rook takes f3, e takes d4, c takes d4 has occurred in the Kizza and Ssonko Mathias game in Kampala. And now, it points out the deadly improvement with knight g4. as I'm going to show you in the video. Faruk played rook takes f3. If black begins with knight takes e4, gives white a huge advantage because white can play knight d2. And after knight g5, rook f5, h6 supporting the knight, then queen takes c6, attacking the bishop which is on d6. At the same time threatening also to win the pawn which is on e5. So this one gives white a slight advantage. Let's go back. After rook takes f3, that's why in the game Mathias played e takes d, and after c takes d, Mathias played knight b6. But a more aggressive line would begin with still a continuation, basing in a book of Lars Schandorff. From move 12, he recommended knight g4, and after h3, then knight c5, which is a very strong move. Let me show you what was meaning. In this position, the aggressive knight g4 is purely winning on the spot, because now you see that now the bishop and the knight are attacking the pawn, which is on h2. In case of h3, black plays another staggering move, which is knight c5, sacrificing the knight at the same time attacking the queen. If queen takes c6, then bishop h2 check. After king h1, queen takes d4, threatening to checkmate the white king. Rook f1, defending against the checkmate which could happen on g1. Rook c8, not even having time to take the bishop which is on c4, but rook attacking the queen on c6. And after queen d5, then knight takes e4, sacrificing the queen in anticipation of if queen takes queen, then knight coming to g3 would be checkmate. White has to play pawn takes knight on g4, and after knight g3 check, king takes bishop, knight takes rook, king h1, and after queen takes d5, bishop takes d5, rook takes c1. This one is purely winning for black. Let's go back. Knight c5. In case white plays pawn takes knight, then bishop takes pawn, checking the king. And in case king goes to f1, then queen coming to d1 is a checkmate. Let's go back. After bishop c5, check. In case of king going back to h1, then black can play queen d4, threatening checkmate in 1, at the same time to take the bishop on c4. So after rook f1, defending the checkmate, then black can play queen takes bishop on c4, attacking the rook, knight d2, attacking the queen and defending the rook. Then black would play queen comes to e6. So in case of pawn takes knight, then queen check on h6 is a checkmate, because now this and this are all being watched by the two pieces of the black side. So it means white would be busted. But however, after c takes d4, Mathias played knight b6, attacking the bishop, and after bishop goes to d3, he played knight g4. So knight g4 is also a powerful move, because now you see the bishop and the knight are attacking the pawn which is on h2. So Faruk played e5, bishop takes pawn on e4. After pawn takes, he played queen d4 check. If king goes to h1, then knight takes pawn on e5 is very powerful. So in the game after queen d4, Faruk played king f1. Mathias played knight takes e5, attacking the rook at the same time the bishop. So in this position, our candidate master realized that he cannot save the bishop, and then he played bishop takes h7 check, and after king takes h7 he played rook h3, trying to get some counterplay. But because he had played queen takes b7, the queen was in the village and couldn't have any space to support him. You see on the game that black is having 3 pieces, all are active, but only white has only the rook which is active. White is playing 3 pieces down. Position after king g8, played knight c3, trying to develop the pieces. Knight g4, threatening checkmate in 1. And after rook f3, defending the checkmate, knight takes h2 check. After king e2, knight takes f3, g takes f3, rook f e8 check, king f1, queen c4 check, and after king f2, queen h4 check, king g2, then rook entered there with rook e1, queen takes c6, and after queen check, king goes to g3, queen g1 check, king h4, queen h2 check, queen g4, and after f5, Faruk resigned the game in anticipation of moves that, if for example, king takes pawn, there are moves of rook coming in to check him on f8, and also the queen can check him, then rook goes in to check, and it will be checkmate in the few moves. Thank you for watching the game, and I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.